A horde of goblins charges at you, ready to attack.
I cast Fireball.
A few moments later.
The king rises and prepares to strike at you.
I cast Fireball.
10 seconds later.
No, the shopkeeper is not gonna lower his prices again.
I cast Fireball.
Really?
1 minute later.
The door just won't budge, no matter how hard you push.
I
Cast Fireball! Hey everyone, welcome to The Grit and Glory, where we learn how to improve the gaming experience. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and of course subscribe. But now, onto the video. D&D's Vancian magic system leaves a lot to be desired, namely the whole magical aspect to it. To me, the rigidity of spell slots and things like having to prepare your spells every day has always just made it feel so mechanical. And before you Pathfinder nerds come out here, your system is just as bad. Yes, I do agree that the spells in Pathfinder are more creative and more fun, but the actual system of spell casting is not improved in any real way.
That stank, don't it? Ugh.
I mean, come on guys, mana has been around for such a long time now. It's really no excuse for you not using it. It is so much simpler and easier to track than spell slots and easier to explain to newbies. Plus, it allows for the benefit of people being able to choose whether they're going to go for longevity, casting a little bit constantly, or put all of their mana into one big attack. Plus, it allows us as game developers to make the spells way more interesting. Instead of just having one really simple upcast effect, we've actually been able to design the spells almost like they're trees of different possibilities, with loads of different enhancements to make them and customize them in your own way. So what's the deal, Watsy? Why won't they just swap to an obviously superior system?
I am better. Everything.
Let's take the Mage Hand spell, for example. In D&D, it's pretty simple. You make a tiny, small spectral hand and it does hand things, right? And yeah, we can do that in G&G as well. You can summon that and you can leave it there, but that's not the only option. You can also summon maybe 2, 3, or even 10 of them. And who said they have to be small? Maybe we can make them big. And if you want, who said anything about them having to be spectral? What if you wanted to make them out of stone or even flesh? My point is not just to say that our Mage Hand spell is better than theirs, even though it is. But what we're trying to say is that dynamic and interesting spells are better than static, boring ones. It makes spellcasting, magic, it makes it actually magical. But don't worry, we've not just used mana and changed the spells and left it there. We've actually also changed how you can use the spells themselves. Not only can you and your ally team up to combo and make one epic spell, but you can also counter your opponent's spells with your own. And I'm not talking about counter spell as its own unique spell. I'm saying you can counter someone's ice storm with your own fire. If you've ever wanted to try that, then now you can, but be warned. There will be consequences. And casting a spell isn't just as simple as, do I have the mana? Well, it is for the players, but not for the characters, and it shouldn't be. After all, they are harnessing the eternal and chaotic arcane. That's why we've added spellcasting skill checks, because with great power comes great consequences. Every time you cast a spell, there's a chance that the arcane may call on a tribute. Your mind, your body, even your soul may be mangled by the pure entropy of the void that you dared to tamper with. If you're going to try and take, you need to be willing to give.
I cast Plasma Spark.
Okay, yeah, roll your spellcasting skill check. That's 2. Ooh, that means you're gonna have to roll on the devastating table. Ah, that's a 16. Oh, wow, okay. You fall to the floor, agonizing in pain as your back begins to break and your muscles contract. You realize that you've shrunk. You're now small. No! So I'm sure that you can see that.
Doesn't that just mean that every single spell in the game is a save or suck spell? I don't want to invest my entire character into casting spells if half the time it won't even work.
No, I do totally understand that. Which is why even if you do fail the spell actually still goes off. The negative of failing the spellcasting skill check is that you lose mana and that you have to deal with the negative consequence of rolling on that tribute table. But we didn't want to add on another thing of you losing the spell and basically making your turn completely pointless. And like you said, that would make building a spellcaster really stupid, right? So we wanted to still make them viable whilst dancing on the line of that chaotic edge. This also does go deeper though, right? Every single spell that has a save put into it still has an effect whether someone succeeds or fails. We didn't want those save or suck spells at any point in our system.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Fire! Remember your exit points. Help! There is no fire, it was only a simulation. What?
And that is true for both combat spells and non-combat spells. Which brings me to another point. D&D is so combat focused that like 90% of the spells in the whole game are made to basically only be used in combat. But in G&G, we haven't forgotten about exploration, social encounters, or empire building, which are all major parts of the system. And because of that, we have spells that focus specifically on those areas of the game. And also, don't worry, we haven't made this whole thing where you have to prepare every amount of spells each day, because that's stupid. Why would you forget a spell tomorrow that you know today and remember it the next day? It doesn't make sense, so we didn't include it. And it just makes it a whole lot more fun for the players and the characters, speaking from experience.
So I seriously hate it when, what was this video going to be about? Oh, right. I seriously hate it when I forget something.
No, instead, once you know a spell, you know that spell for good. Which means not only do you have the ultimate utility belt at all times, but it means that you can actually pick up those super situational spells that you would never use in D&D. Things like water walking. Right? When do you prepare that? You never do, because what are the chances that it's actually going to come in useful? Now, there are so many different things about the magic system that I could get into in this video. Overcasting, blood magic, rune knights, power words, but I'm not going to do that now. I'll save those for another video in a later date. But the last thing I do want to get into in this video is spell crafting. That's right. In this game, you can actually make new spells in the game. You don't just have to pull your GM aside for some quick homebrew every time you come up with a cool, unique idea for a spell. Instead, your character can actually reach into the arcane and yank out their own creation. How, you might ask? Well, that's easy. The first thing, you just need to get the soul of a legendary creature. And you can see all about legendary creatures in this video right here. That's right, in this system, there is an in-universe explanation for the difference between legendary and non-legendary monsters. Their very essence is divided by a different power scale. And that power you can use to manipulate the arcane. That brainiac artificer, that overconfident sorcerer that you've been wanting to play, they can all use this essence and manipulate it in a completely different way to form their own unique signature spells.
I'll bet you were a smash.
Smash.
I'll smash you, you mad dumb old silent you!
And think how cool this could be for setting up quests. Maybe you need to find a soul to create a spell to complete some massive mission, but first you've got to hunt down that beast to do it. It would be so cool. And the reason that we made spellcasting like this is because we didn't want to make it some bland, ordering off the menu type of experience. We wanted you to feel like the chef in the kitchen crafting your own delicious delicacy. But that does mean if you can't handle the heat, you gotta get out of the kitchen. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, check out the website in the description below where you'll find details about the Kickstarter that's going live in September, so make sure to back it. And in the meantime, you can check out my Patreon for more exclusive content, or for YouTube content, you can look here.